Okay, so I'm starting with a new concept. This is a crow. Well, it could have been a, a raven, but it seems to turn out to be a crow. Anyway, this is a new concept. I have an idea what's in my brain. That's how it was going to work. So I'm going to just give a light wash to everything. Now, things will change as we go back and forth. But right now I'm just laying in somewhat of a foundation, thinking about lights and darks. Now I may just stop with the head and then do some more work and then come back in. This drawing part here is done with watercolor pencils. Now I'll probably do a couple of feathers in here and then elaborate on a few. You don't need to see every single feather I put in there. You just have to have an idea how I got there. So this is going to go through Payne's Gray, some blacks, blues, and just slowly build up what's happening here. So I've added some blues, Payne's Grays, and I can still see the outline, like right here, of the feathers, which is important. And I'm going to start doing the detail around the eyes. Usually I start with the eyes and work my way out. If you can succeed on the eyes, everything else will work or have a better chance of working. And it's just a buildup of layers, pulling out eventually the colors and overlapping. I'm going to do a little demo on the eyes. So I'm going to blend this out some, go back in it later for the darks and lights. And then come in for a highlight. Now that's just pulling out the color. I had a foundation color underneath of blue, so when I pull it out, it remains. So now I'm going to come in with some small detail areas. Birds have a little roundness, little circular and I'm just going to spend a little bit more time around the eye. This is where I'm going to do all the feathers. Just slowly bring them up. This will take the longest. So I'm going to stay in the face area for a long time before I ever go anywhere else. This is just going to be a gradual build up. What I'm going to probably do right now is come into the bill a little bit. So I'm going to pull out a highlight slowly. I'll expand on this also later. I'm pulling out the colors and creating the blending. And this will be going back and forth until it makes sense. Okay, so this is a new concept I was thinking about. It was going to be called The Giver of Gifts. It was going to be either a crow or a raven. And it started off in the drawing form okay, but it's failing right now. So I'm not sure if I could save it. But I thought it would be vital to let you see what happens when things fail, and I'm going to try to save it. Ravens and crows are fascinating creatures, and with people they like, they actually give gifts. And I was thinking inside the mouth was going to be a certain rock. I'm not sure what rock yet, but whatever. Now, what I want to tell you about failure is the size of the beak is off. Now, and the location of the eye. I may be able to save it right in this area, maybe bring out some stuff. I'm not sure. But right now I'm in that kind of area where it's like, this might have to stop or keep on going to see if I can save it. One little problem, I'm going to kind of, is the eye. Now I'm going to try to pull out the color. I try to stay loose and slowly build up stuff, but I got excited and I went a little further. I should have stayed on the eye and the beak and completed that before I went anywhere else. So I'm going to see if I can pull out the color. Now they have an eye similar to ours, in where they have a lens, and their iris is somewhat dark. And so I need a dark black, like the opening of the eye. But what happened is I was getting so excited, I went to the reflection first, and that just happened. So I'm going to see if I can form a little bit of a black spot where the iris would be, and then add a little bit of brown. I'm going to have to bring in hair into here. So the beak looks a little too large right now. So by adding feathers in this little area, it should shrink it up, but may not. This is the location where I'm going to have to figure out if I have to change it to a raven and make the bill thicker. So if that happens and I can't save this, I'm going to have to use calipers and then do a measurement of the length and thickness and where the eye location is to the opening for the mouth, and just try to figure out that. But I don't know. It's right now it's at the hard part. So I'm not going to do anything with feathers any down, because the shoulder should be somewhere in here, this area. So I'm going to see if I could save it, work on the beak and the eye. If I could save that part, then I'll just deal with the rest of this stuff. But I just thought it would be, show you the experience of watercolors in my world, where I get to a place which I spoke of it's like, oh, this is not working. How do I fix it? Do I have to just quit? I'm going to just follow my advice and push it as far as I can. If it saves it, it saves it. If it doesn't, it's just the reality of watercolors. Okay, so this is trying to save my crow, but it's working. But I'm gonna have to soften in some of the highlights and blend things out. But it's a good foundation. But I'm gonna explain what I did. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Okay, so what I did right here on the eye is, from the last thing you saw, kind of came in and pulled the color out, and then add a little bit of brown, but also made the iris a little bit more circular, came in and added some more highlights. This is kind of reflections. There is like a little white dots around the eye, and this is some of the feathering going out, and you can see there's little fine hairs going out this way and this way. Also came into the beak. You can see I added some small little hairs and start building up things here, added some brown in here, but I also built up the top of that bottom beak. Now what I did also is it was a sharp line, very much like this right here. So I came in very slowly and with the damp brush and softened the edges. I'm going to add a piece of turquoise there. But this is kind of the direction of the hair, so I think I saved that. So there's some little light feathering going out that way. Let me come back in. So on this right here, this is going to probably be built up a little bit more, but you get the idea. Came in and rounded and softened the edges there. Add a little bit more fine feathering here. I may add some more here and maybe tone down some of this white so that it's just a slight reflection of the fine feathering. Came in here, added some highlights, blended a lot. Now this was and I had no idea if it was going to work or not, but I think it's at a better stage right now. But you can, and I didn't want to go and blend things out because I wanted you to see the strokes of white a little bit thicker, a little bit more bold, so I can get directional help of what the fine featherings is going to go. I didn't do anything to these feathers down below here, but you can see this. So what's going to happen is now it's going to be the hard part. So it's going to be going over with just a slight wash, so it's on these highlights, so it's not so prevalent. But I have a foundation to that, so some of that white will show through slightly, but it'll be more like a shimmering. But I think I saved it. You know, it's like I said before, watercolors is temperamental. But I didn't want to blend things out so you didn't see what was happening before. So I just wanted to show the small little tiny feathering and little things coming out and hair, looks like hair almost, coming out, and really bright directional highlights. Now, eventually I'll kind of tone those down so that it looks more like a raven or actually a crow. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so just a slight update. Came into a lot of the feathering here. I'll zoom in just a minute into the detail, especially in the feathers. Now, did add some highlights and just tone down some of this white strokes that was so prevalent. Now, this is not a photograph. This is not photorealistic. This is painterly, or something they call, an impression. So if you look at my stuff from really close up, it is almost abstract, and it's kind of this loose, wild stuff. So that's my impression. It's not I'm trying to duplicate a photograph, because that's never my intent. My intent is to give something that a photograph can't capture. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then move down. So you can see some of the nice little things happening here, little highlights. And this is like maybe, on the verge of 80-90%, because I'm still going to go on it. But I'm going to leave a lot of things undone, because this is a teaching video. I want to show you how I got to this point. It's just the overlapping of the feathers. And I left these undone purposely so you can see the method of where it came from. So you can see that this one's definitely not finish. This is kind of where it starts off, and I left this undone on purpose. I don't know if I should zoom in more, but okay, so I'll zoom in. Now, this is like, 2 inches away from it, so I can't, it looks really, really rough and abstract almost, but just, you won't be seeing these things unless you get up 2 inches from the painting with a magnifying glass, so just letting you know. But from a little bit of a distance, it starts to make sense.
Hello, I'm Steve Melendres, a model maker, illustrator, scientific illustrator, sculptor, design natural history museum in Los Angeles. Done a lot of different things, but I'm going to be doing watercolor demonstrations of the techniques I've developed over the years, and it's going to go from a lot of different directions. And also I'm going to be doing videos, I call them video posters for my daughter. So a lot of stuff that I can leave to my daughter about her crazy dad. So I'm taking a lot of different directions, but mainly 3. So anyway, that's my introduction that I'm going to attach to everything I'm doing now, so I don't have to repeat this.